Conference, your source for JVM knowledge.
So let's start. First of all, thanks for being here, and welcome to this talk called Analyze Your Code with SonarLint for IntelliJ. I present myself. My name is Alberto. I work at Salenda as a senior developer. I work with Ruby and Rails every day, and I like to go to different conferences like Grid, TechFest, or CodeMotion, for example. What? I have had a problem with my computer. As I mentioned, I work in Salenda. Salenda is a software factory focused on the development, consulting, and training with Ruby and Rails. And moreover, we are Atlassian partners, so if we have anything to tell us, we are outside in an stand. But let's start with the talk. I don't know if you have ever told some sentences like that. For example, there is no one who puts a hand on this project. Or so many people have passed through this code that it's impossible to understand. Or even, I tremble thinking that this code needs to be modified. If you have listened some of that sentences, because you are working with a project that has a huge technical depth. But what's the technical depth? Technical depth is the effort that you have to do to fix problems in your code. All those problems are related with vulnerabilities, for example, security problems, duplicated code. It's possible that you have similar code in different parts of your application, deprecated methods, comments with has inside pieces of code, not too much testings, or even a lack of programming style. So what has to do to solve that? To keep calm and try to reduce your technical depth. To help us, we can use SonarLint. We are going to see what is SonarLint, how to install it, we have to use it, and how it works. Okay? So what's SonarLint? SonarLint is a plugin, an extension to IDEs, which works with all of those IDEs, which are Eclipse, IntelliJ, Visual Studio, Visual Code, and Atom. And it helps us to detect and fix problems on our code, giving us a feedback on the fly with a static code analysis. We have to know that it's free and that it's open source, so you can contribute. I have right here the URL to contribute to the IntelliJ idea repository. Okay? You have to know that it exists another repositories to the rest of the IDs. And how to install it? It's really easy. You only have to go to the preferences. In plugins, you only have to write SonarLint, and it will start to search in the repositories to download the SonarLint plugin. To use it, you only have to restart your ID, and it will be installed. And why we have to use SonarLint? Well, the answer is easy. It's to reduce our technical debt. It will help us to write better code, to fix design problems, such as dependencies in classes, for example, to don't repeat yourself, to follow the don't repeat yourself rule, so to not to have the same code in different classes, to detect vulnerabilities and bugs, and use an only code style criteria, for example, and all of those things giving us an instant feedback. Okay? So how it works? First of all, I want to explain some concepts which I consider important. A rule, which is a function to check if our code matches a condition. And the rule set, which is a group of rules of the same time. We are going to see now the categories and the priorities of the different rules. Modes to use SonarLint. We have to know that it exists two different modes, the standalone mode and the connected mode. The standalone mode, it refers to the mode when you work in an alone way, when you download your SonarLint plugin. It comes with a default result set with more than 500 rules, which are by default, and those rules try to match your code against that. So you don't require other components. You don't need to be connected to any server. Obviously, you can't create your own custom rules because you use the rules which are inside that default result set. And all of those rules are based on the coding standards. You can see them, all of them, in that link. And the other mode is the connected mode. In this case, it refers to a collaborative mode to work with your team. You know that when you merge your code, you have to compile, you have to execute tests, and you have to validate your code. SonarLint can help you because when you merge your code, it can send you it can do an analysis of your code and can send you the problems or the vulnerabilities that your code has. To do that, it has to be connected to a SonarCube server or a Sonar cloud. And in this case, it is possible to create your own custom rules, or you can enable or disable rules in a rule set. To create your own custom rule, as I have mentioned, I have right here the URL to follow the steps in a quiet way, but I will explain it quickly. You can create your own Java class. It has to extend from the issuable subscription visible, which is a class provided by the Java plugin API. And it's important to see those two methods, the nodes to visit, which specifies the data structure. In this case, we use the tree-kind method, and the visit node, which refers to how to the rule will react. Because we have chosen the tree-kind method, we have the interface method tree to access to the parameter types. In this case, my rule doesn't allow us to have more than 5 parameters. So to access to the parameters, I use the method tree. Okay? So once you have created your own rule, you have to register the rule in the plugin. You have to do that with the annotation @rule, and you only have to indicate a key and can to indicate the description, the priority, or the tags. And after that, you have to activate it within the plugin. To do that, we have a rule list class, and inside we have a method called getJavaChecks, which contains all the rules which are in the plugin. So you only have to add it here inside this method. And we have told that there are different rules in the result set. You have to know that it exists different categories and different priorities that we are going to see. According to the categories, you have to know that it exists 3 different categories. The bug categories, which are referred to unwanted behaviors or errors in the performance. The vulnerability rules, which are referred to security errors to prevent possible attacks against our code. And the code smell rules, which are related with clean coding violations or maintenance problems. And according to the severity levels, it exists 4 different types. They are the minor, the majors, the critical, and the most important, which will be the blocker rules. You have to know that you can personalize them. For example, putting a background color. For example, in the blocker rules to impact you when you see when you show the rule in your ID. And here you have the rules aspect. When you go to the link that I have told you before, you see a group of a group of rules, which are grouped in different categories. And when you click on one, you have in the right panel the description. You can see the category. You can see the priority, the problem that you have in your code, and a way to solve it. Sonar source code analyzers. We have to know that not all languages can be used in SonarLint. Only could be used if it has a Sonar source code analyzer. For example, we have a Sonar Java, an HTML, or Kotlin. We can use all of that languages which are here in this table to use SonarLint. But for example, for me, I work with Groovy, and there is not it is not possible to use Groovy because it doesn't exist a Sonar source Groovy analyzer. In this case, we have to use another tool which is really similar, such as Codenarc. And now, to finish this, I want to show you a little demo. I have created a project with a main class. We have here an adverb because I have a system outprint, and it is a rule which says that it's better to put a log. So we can see here the SonarLint tab with two messages. When you press in one of them, you have the right panel to explain your problem and to solve it. And as you can see, we are going to remove the system outprint and put a logger. And when we change that line, the adverb in the SonarLint will disappear, and the message that we have at the top, on the top of the ID disappeared too. And the other message is the same. We have the package problem, and we solve it. Put it our class into the package. So I have finished. That's all. And I don't know if you have any question. Okay, so thank you.